All praises to the Most High, the Elohim of our fathers, creator of heaven and earth and of all things. Only him we praise, and only him we glorify. Shalom, brothers and sisters who are scattered in all corners of the earth. Sanbonan. My name is Mpumelelo. Welcome to this channel. I would like to take this opportunity to thank all the subscribers of this channel. Thank you for all your support and the contributions that you make. If you are new to this channel, please consider to subscribe, like and share this video with your friends and family. We're taking a different direction today. After having done on Thursdays, or whichever day you want to call it, Thursday pagans according to the Gregorian calendar, we've been dealing with the book of Revelations. Now a sister from Kenya, asked me to help her find Jesus in Proverbs 8 because this is one of the books that are cited by pro-Christians. But this was in one of the channels of our brothers or sister. And she said, I've been trying to look, but I can't find Jesus. I'll tell you what is it that people see that makes them think there's Jesus. And once you see this, you'll realize why Christians think that there's a hidden message in the Torah. And there's no hidden message. The Torah is as sweet as honey. It is as simple as ABC. There's no hidden message. Why would the Most High hide messages? The only thing that comes up as a message that's hidden is prophecies. But if you read them carefully, you will realize that there's no Jesus, that's number one. And there's no code. Other people say there's a code that needs to be decrypted for you to understand the Bible. There's no such. So let's go ahead. What is Proverbs 8 about? What is it talking about? Proverbs 8 is about wisdom. And this wisdom is personified as a woman. Now this is an incredible thing. It's wisdom personified as a woman. Now some Christians believe that this woman or wisdom is foreshadowing Jesus. How they manage to do that, is puzzling. But having been a Christian myself at some point, I've come to understand why they have made us, or they've led us to believe that there's Jesus everywhere. They wanted us to see Jesus. But it's not what they see. They know why they were leading us astray. Because in all these churches that you find, the churches that you find in the continent, the churches that you find in the diaspora, all over the place, you go to South America, where there's a presence of our people who are taken to the diaspora, we are flooding those churches. There's a presence of us in big numbers. They don't go to these churches. Where they go in Lutheran Church, Catholic, there's a few of them. The majority of them know the truth, so they let us go to these churches. Because they don't want us to see what is hidden is what they don't want us to see. It's the truth, the plain truth of the Torah, of the word of the Most High. There's no Jesus hidden or hidden encoded messages in the Torah. There's no such thing. Well, one of the reasons why Proverbs 8 is associated with Jesus is because of certain catchphrases. These catchphrases are found in the Gospel of John, chapter 1, verses 1 to 5 and 14, and they linked these verses to Proverbs 8. And these catchphrases are, they read such as, in the beginning. You'll find them scattered, in the beginning, or everlasting. You also find the word everlasting in some Proverbs and in some Psalms. In the book of Isaiah, you find this word interestingly also linked to Jesus. Isaiah 9, verse 6. And all these phrases that they see, once they see anything that has the phrase in the beginning or everlasting, it must be Jesus. So let's go ahead and see what John is saying. John chapter 1. And this is how they link it with what they see in Proverbs 8. And I will show you where these phrases appear in this proverb. So John chapter 1 verse 1 reads as follows. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. So when you read, they must tell you this first. You will not see it instantly when you read, for instance, when you read Genesis. When you read Genesis, you won't see this until you read John chapter 1 verse 1. John chapter 1 verse 1 says, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was God, and the Word was God. And when you read, after you've been told this, you read Genesis 1 verse 1, you'll find that there's similar phrases, and in their minds, these phrases means in the beginning Jesus was there. This is why verse 2 continues and say, he was in the beginning with God. All things were made through him, and without him nothing was made that was made. In him was life, and the life was the light of men. Let me confess here, I used to love this, because when I read it, I saw Jesus. So I knew this by heart. I could recite it without looking at it. In him was life, and the life was the light of men. And the light shines in the darkness, and the darkness did not comprehend it. Then verse 14. And the Word became flesh and dwelt among us, and we beheld his glory, the glory as of the only begotten of the Father, full of grace and truth. It is nicely worded, but it is nothing other than fake news. Today, that's what we call it, fake news. This thing is something that is nicely worded. And, it's someone who was a philosopher during that time who put these beautiful words together, but they mean nothing. He took time. The book of John was written between 90 to 100 years. 100 years CE. So this man, after all the books, after the Gospels, after the book of Acts, after all the letters of Paul, and the letters of James, the letters of Peter, the letters and the other letters of John, after everything else was written, he had time to read everything else and then come up with a philosophy that suited the narratives of the so-called church fathers. And so when they say that the Word became flesh and dwelt among us, they are saying the Most High became flesh and dwelt among us. In spite of many verses when the Most High tell us that he is not man. He is not man. So how can the word become flesh and dwell among us when the Most High tell us that he is not flesh? He is not man. It is people who have no fear of the Most High. They can write whatever they want to write. There's no fear for them. They just write. Now, according to Christian thinking, anything that has catchphrases such as everlasting is a clue to them that there's a hidden message about Jesus. Everlasting, in the beginning. You can read Proverbs 8 from verse 1 to the last verse. There is no clue. There is no hidden message there. But once we have read John 1 to 5 and 14, then you begin to believe that indeed there is a clue about Jesus. New Testament is designed for us to walk away from the Most High, to walk away from the Torah. It is called new, so that we begin to believe that the Torah is old, is no longer relevant. And we have come to believe it, and we follow it. So what is wisdom? Since this proverb is about wisdom. Wisdom is the ability to apply knowledge. It is the ability to apply experience and understanding to make sound judgments and good decisions. So you may have knowledge, you may have experience. If you do not have the wisdom to apply it, you are just full of knowledge. You are just full of experience. And in many cases, it will be other people who will listen to you and go and apply wisdom to the knowledge that you have. It's a good thing to have the balance. When King Solomon, when the Most High asked King Solomon what he would like him to, what he should pray for, what he should ask for, King Solomon asked for wisdom. And the Most High gave him wisdom abundantly. But you will see that even that wisdom, when you apply it without the Most High, you go astray. Now, wisdom is often associated with the elderly or gray-headed people because of their experience in life. Here in the continent, we respect the elderly, irregardless of their education, because we know that they are full of wisdom. We consult them for many things that we do. In fact, certain things don't start, whether it is a preparation for wedding, whether it's preparation for war, whether it's preparation for anything, unless there's a presence of an elder who is gray-headed, we don't start. I guess I'm also at the age where I qualify for people to wait for me to come. And it does happen. They will say they are waiting for me because I'm also, an elder in the family. And it's because of years of experience. It's because of years of seeing things being done. But what is most important is how you apply it. How you apply the experience wisely. But why is wisdom personified as a woman? Women play a critical role in our lives without us realizing it, and we give them very little credit. After the Most High has created man and a woman, so the first woman was created by the Most High. But after that, every other living human being came to being because of women. So women are the beginning of life. They give life. And that's why wisdom is embedded in them. That's why wisdom is personified as a woman. They give life. There's a phrase, a popular phrase, that behind every successful man, I don't think they should be saying behind, maybe next to or in front of a successful man is a woman. But conversely, behind every wicked man, there's a woman. All men who were wicked, they were married at some point. If they were divorced at another point, there were women in their lives who influenced their behavior. Some women are drawn to wickedness because they are wicked, and they can either accelerate your wickedness, make it worse, but they can play a role in your life and influence you positively and change your life. So women have this power, have this wisdom that it comes naturally without them having to make an effort. And quite often we underestimate their power, their ability to do things. Now, where does wisdom come from? Obviously, there's no doubt wisdom is a gift from the Most High. Now, let us look at Proverbs 8, verses 1 to 36. It appears as if it's a long proverb, but there are many nuggets here that we can pick up. And we'll also see where Christians, or those who believe that Jesus, Yeshua, Hawashai is their Savior and Messiah, will see what is it that they saw in this innocent, powerful message. The type of this proverb is a personification proverb. Is a proverb that projects a woman as a person. Verse 1. Does not wisdom cry out, and understanding lift up her voice? Does not wisdom cry out and understanding lift up her voice? She takes her stand on the top of the high hill beside the way where the paths meet. She cries out by the gates, at the entry of the city, at the entrance of the doors. To you, O man, I call, and my voice is to the sons of men. I have underlined this particularly because it's in plural. If it wasn't in plural, the son would have been a capital letter, and the man, the M, would have been capital letter, because they would have wanted you to believe that this is Jesus. But because it is plural, they left it alone. Oh, you simple ones, understand prudence, and you fools, be of an understanding heart. Listen, for I will speak of excellent things, and from the opening of my lips will come right things. For my mouth will speak truth. Wickedness is an abomination to my lips. All the words of my mouth are with righteousness. Nothing crooked or perverse is in them. They are all plain to him who understands. Now, wisdom is not complicated. Just like the Torah, just like the word of the Most High. We are not making guesses about what the Torah means. It is plain. It is simple to understand. But the New Testament, every denomination have its own understanding of what is meant by certain things. What is meant by Antichrist, what is meant by Antichrist, and what is meant by the beast, what is meant by all sorts of things. Everybody has their own interpretation. And therefore, how do you trust such things? Because the interpretation comes from man. It doesn't come from the Most High. You have to look for it. Someone has to tell you that there's Jesus in Genesis 1. When you read Genesis 1, you don't find it. You don't find him. But the wisdom that comes from the Most High, wisdom is plain and it is easy to understand. It is right to those who find knowledge. Receive my instruction and not silver, and knowledge rather than choice gold. For wisdom is better than rubies, and all the things one may desire cannot be compared with her. So nothing can be compared with wisdom, not even, precious stones. I, wisdom, dwell with prudence and find out knowledge and discretion. The fear of Yah is to hate evil and arrogance, and the evil way and the perverse mouth I hate. Now this is very important. The fear of Yah is to hate evil. So we need to remove evil in our myths. We need to remove the New Testament. It is evil. It was devised by evil, wicked men who wanted us to turn against the Most High, and we have. And now we need to return to him. Many of our people think they can stand on two legs, one in the New Testament and the other in the so-called Old Testament. They don't even realize that these are different doctrines written by different people. Everybody in the Tanakh who wrote the sacred writings, they were hand-picked by the Most High. Hand-picked. All of them had a conversation with him. Those who didn't have a conversation, their books are classified elsewhere. Like the book of Daniel, that doesn't fall under the prophets because it didn't have a direct conversation with the Most High. But all these men, and unfortunately, these collections are not complete. The collection of the Torah, we had people like Deborah, for instance, who was a judge, who was a general, who was a prophetess. I doubt that her story is written in the book of Judges, but she doesn't have a story that is singularly talking about her activities. It is just an extract among many judges. But she stands out as a very wise, talented woman. Now I'm saying, unfortunately, some men must have collected these books. As a result, we don't have records of many writings of the prophets of women. There were many prophets who were women. So if you follow the New Testament, you will be made to believe that women were not allowed to teach, for instance. Women were not allowed to teach. Then how does the Most High choose someone like Deborah? Not only did Deborah judge. You know what to judge is? You don't judge women only. it means you need to separate between, and you need to do it with wisdom. A story that is told to you about something wicked that happened, and you need to make a judgment about what should be done about it. She judged over men and women. And to be a judge, it means you need to teach as well. She was also a prophetess, and as a prophetess, she was teaching. Now, the book of Timothy and the book of Peter say that women should be silent and not teach. Miriam was another prophetess, but there were many prophetess in the Torah. They are underrated. There were queens as well. Unfortunately, some of them were wicked, but they were there. We can't write them off. If it pleased the Most High, they would not have played such significant roles. If they were insignificant. But their roles, their importance show us that they were significant. And if you wish, we can have a discussion about the role of women, whether women can lead or women cannot lead. Here in the continent, we know that women lead. There are certain tribes that have been led by women from the beginning of those tribes. Women has been their queens. We know this. But history has perverted things, and women are put in the background. Let's carry on. Counsel is my name, and sound wisdom. I am understanding, I have strength. By me, kings reign and rulers decree justice. By me, princes rule and nobles, all the judges of the earth. I love those who love me, and those who seek me diligently will find me. If you seek wisdom, you will find wisdom. But if you go about listening to men, and wisdom is found in the Torah, but if you go about listening to men who are talking nonsense, you will find yourself following men, following the writings of Buddha, following the writings because they sound nice in the ears. I love those who love me, and those who seek me diligently will find me. Riches and honor are with me, enduring riches and righteousness. My fruit is better than gold, yes, than fine gold, and my revenue than choice silver. I traverse the way of righteousness in the midst of the paths of justice, that I may cause those who love me to inherit wealth, that I may fill their treasures. Here we go. Here are the cash phrases. They're coming up. Yah possessed me at the beginning of his way, before his work of old. Aha! They will say, there is Jesus. He was there in the beginning. The Most High possessed him before his works of old. That is being narrow-minded. There's no wisdom in thinking. There's no probing. This does not suggest that Jesus was there in the beginning. There's nothing in this sentence that suggests that it is talking about Jesus unless you have read John 1, which is a fraudulent book. One day you're going to wake up and realize that you've been talking nonsense. You've been teaching nonsense. You're going to be ashamed. You need to take a step back and re-look at the things you believe in. While we all accept that we were deceived, why do we think those who came to teach us the New Testament came with good intentions? How does it work? Why do we think that way? There's a reason why they wanted us to know and learn the New Testament. Read the letter of King Leopold, writing it it was King Leopold II who wrote his letter to all missionaries here in the continent. And that letter, in summary, it says, do not teach them anything about the Most High. They already know that. In fact, he's hiding in his wording. He's not saying they know the Torah, but he says they know that it is wrong to commit adultery. They know the Most High. They know that it is wrong to steal. Teach them these things that will make them your subjects. Teach them things like Romans 13 verse 1 that says, all authority has been placed on earth by the Most High. And if you do not subject yourself to the authority that has been placed by the Most High, you are as good as being disobedient to the Most High. Slaves, obey your masters. Teach them those things. Do not teach them that an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth, but teach them that if you hit them on one side of the cheek, they must give you another side of the cheek. Those are the things that were taught to us, and we embraced them. But it's time to get out of that, because these things were lies, and they were intended to make us docile. And we still are. We still are following these things. There we go again. I have been established from everlasting, from the beginning, before there was ever an earth. When there were no depths, I was brought forth. When there were no fountains abounding with water, before the mountains were settled, before the hills, I was brought forth. This is wisdom. This is not Jesus. Before the mountains were settled, before the hills, I was brought forth. While as yet he had not made the earth or the fields, or the primal dust of the world. And when people read this, they say, there is Jesus. He was there in the beginning. When he prepared the heavens, I was there. And they say that was Jesus. When he drew a circle on the face of the deep, when he established the clouds above, when he strengthened the fountains of the deep, when he assigned to the sea its limit so that the waters would not transgress his command, when he marked out the foundations of the earth, then I was beside him as a master's craftsman, and I was daily his delight, rejoicing always before him. So we are told that he was there in the beginning. That's why we can find him in these verses. If there was any intention to reveal him, this would have been the opportunity to tell us who. And what is worse is that here, this wisdom is personified as a woman. So what does it say? Is Jesus a woman? Was he? Was it the reason why John, who in all his writing, he says, he is John whom Jesus loved very much. During the Last Supper, he laid his head on Jesus' breast. What does this mean? I would never allow any man to lay their head on my chest. People quickly read past that. I know it doesn't sound well in their minds. What was John doing? How old was he? Why would he do that? Whilst he was laying his head on Jesus' chest, where were his hands leaning on? Yeah. Okay. You answer those questions if you can find Jesus here. But you can see that these people who were writing these things were not even thinking. They were just throwing verses as they wish. And I tell you that those who wrote the New Testament, they are also surprised that people can find Jesus even in Proverbs 18. That was not their plan. But it is our people who are digging him out everywhere. Rejoicing in his inhabited world, and my delight was with the sons of men. Here's the sons of men again. If it was intended to be Jesus, in this case it is plural. It is talking about ordinary men born of women, not born of the Spirit of the Most High. Now therefore, listen to me. For blessed are those who keep my ways. Hear instruction and be wise, and do not disdain it. Blessed is the man who listens to me, watching daily at my gates, waiting at the posts of my doors. For whoever finds me finds life, and obtains favor from Yah. Interestingly, there's also a proverb that says, whoever finds a woman, a good woman, a wife, finds favor from Yah. But he who sins against me wrongs his own soul. All those who hate me love death. Of course, if you hate wisdom, you're going to make life-threatening decisions because your head has no, you are not applying wisdom. So this ends Proverbs 8. You can see that there is no Jesus here. People were trying to find him everywhere, and they are making ridiculous findings these days, even in places where he was not intended. Now let us end with this, another proverb. Interestingly, if you read Proverbs 8 and you read Proverbs 9, you will find that Proverbs 9 is also a continuation of Proverbs 8. It is a personification of a woman, of wisdom as a woman. So read them concurrently. Read Proverbs 8 and Proverbs 9. You'll find interesting things there. But let us read Proverbs 9. The fear of Yah is the beginning of wisdom, and the knowledge of the Holy One is understanding. If you do not fear Yah, you will have no wisdom. You will have no discernment. You will not see that the New Testament is fraudulent because they have taken the Torah and broke it apart. They have used their own words, disregarding the command that says, do not add or take away from the commandments that I have given you. From the first quotation that they make to all of them, up to the end of the book of Revelation, the last book, they have done this thing consistently. They've added their words. They have no fear of Yah. And therefore, they do not have the wisdom. They cannot discern. And so, brothers and sisters who are reading the New Testament and who are teaching about the New Testament, you are misleading our people. You need to stop this thing, because we will be judged among the wicked, because what we are doing is wicked. So this is where I will end. Think about these things. I would like to hear from you. I would like to hear your comments. Thank you very much for your attention. Asante sana, ngiyabonga. All praises to the Most High. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah.